But yeah, okay. Yeah, sister.
Why did God create humans? Like, why does he want to be worshipped?
Okay, so the question is, why did God create humans? Allah is referred to as Al-Khaliq, or the creator. And he's also referred to as the best of creators. Okay? Human beings and the universe, and not just the universe, but every other thing that we don't know, represents the best possible creation that could have possibly been created. The best possible craftsmanship that has been put into any kind of design is that which has been put into the design of the universe and human beings within it. Now, you might not be able to recognize that or even appreciate it. And someone may make the argument that actually, well, there are some things in the human body, for example, like the appendix, which seem as if they have no function. In fact, some new atheists used to make this argument with junk DNA. They used to say it's completely useless. And then when it was realized it has X, Y, Z function, they revised their theories. Just because you don't know what the function is, it doesn't mean there is no function. So, why God created the creation is because He's the best of creators. And He manifests His attributes through His will. That's the reason why God created the creation. What was the second question? You had a follow-up?
Why does he want to be worshipped?
It's not that God wants to be worshipped in that sense that He needs it. And in fact, the Quran addresses this point quite clearly. وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. That we haven't created jinn and human beings except that they may worship me. The very next verse says, we don't need any provision from them, and we don't need them to kind of feed or sustain us. Meaning, worship benefits the person who does it. It benefits us to worship God. But one poet put it really beautifully, an Arab poet. He said, وَمِنْ عَجَائِبِ الْجَبَّارِ أَنْ يَجْبُرُ الْعِبَادِ بِالْإِخْتِيَارِ. And from the wondrous signs of the compeller is that he compelled human beings to freedom. So the height of the creative capacity of the Creator God is to not just create something which is submissive to Him, like He has with everything else, but then to put within the midst of that something which has a choice to be voluntarily submissive to Him or not. And that's the human project. Because the Quran states, وَلَهُ أَسْلَمَ مَنْ فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَنْ فِي الْأَرْضِ طَوْعًا أَوْ كَرْهًا. That everything submits to Allah, or everything in the heavens and the earth submits to God, willingly or unwillingly. So everything is because you have these laws of nature which are incontrovertible. You have these laws of nature which are incontrovertible. They are put in place by the compeller. But within that, Allah, He made one creation, or two really if you mention the jinn as well, that we know of, gave them the choice to do that which everything else is doing, be sacrosanct, be in sync with the rest of nature. Therefore, the Quranic paradigm brings forward this idea that if you worship Allah, which is to submit to Him, then you are better than all of creation. Khayrul Bariyah, as I mentioned in Surah Al-Bayyinah, the best of creation. Because everything else in creation is forcibly submissive to God. Whereas human being, because we do believe in free will, is doing so voluntarily. So they rank higher than everything else which is forcibly submissive to God. Whereas those human beings who decide not to submit to God, they are the worst of creation. They are the worst of creation because everything else is submissive to God. And so human beings who don't worship or submit to the laws of God, from the Islamic paradigm, do not fulfill the basic human function. In fact, they don't even fulfill the function which is basic to all aspects of the world, the creation. And so, for that reason, they are ranked below everything in the world. And so, in other words, God created the creation, and He created within it something which has the choice to submit, Some of us submit and some of us don't submit. And the choice determines the ranking of that particular individual. It doesn't really have an impact on God's status, because God is immutable, meaning his status doesn't change like that. God is immutable. Does that answer the question, or do you want to?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.